my friends, and welcome back. Mr. A here today, back with another circuit playground video from Mr. Hart. Today, Mr. Hart's going to help us learn how to use our circuit playground to turn on and off lights.
Igor, hold the switch!
Yes, master.
As a reminder, the Computers Are Fun Circuit Playground series of videos are intended for 3rd through 8th grade audience. For a younger audience, or pre-kindergarten through 3rd grade age students, we suggest checking out the Computers Are Fun Puppet series. In the description below will be a link to all the resources needing for you to go through this activity with Mr. Hart.
Hello, this is Mr. Hart with another episode of Recess at the Circuit Playground. If you would like to get the document we're working from, you can find it here or by scanning this QR code. We will be working at the coding environment at Adafruit's website, so makecode.adafruit.com. And today's episode, we will be talking about variables. And we're going to do something really basic, but actually very easy, very fun. We're going to start programming the lights, but we're going to do it by starting at the top, working our way down and turning on lights. And then I'm going to challenge you to turn them off, go in the opposite direction. Okay. So now that I've told you the basics of it, and you'll be able to come back here, we're going to go to the programming website, click that link. Oh no, all of my stuff is still here. Well, there's a little bit of a secret. And we're going to start with a new project now. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about variables. And if you can see, it's the salmon colored tab here. Variables are, think about them as being like a little box that you can put a single thing in, right? A variable can be a box that holds a number. It can be a box that holds a letter. It can be a box that holds a sentence, which even though it's a bunch of letters, it's still just one sentence. So we're going to use variables today to think about where we are around our lights. So basically, if I was going to ask you, hold on, let's go ahead and make this just so we have something to look at. If you look over here and I asked you where the orange light was, you would tell me it's in the 2nd place. And the yellow light's in the 3rd one because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except, and this is a very important thing, computers don't start counting at 1 like we do. They start counting at 0 because it's the first, well, non-negative number. So that being said, this first red light is 0. The orange one would be at 1, yellow light at 2. So it's basically always whatever you would say if you counted, but back 1. So the first one is at 0. The second one is at 1. The 3rd one is position 2. And so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that we can turn lights on and then by pressing a button. So our input, what we will be telling it with, will be a button click of A. All right. Now we're going to need a variable to keep up with our position. So I called it position. And as soon as I did that, did you notice I got 3 blocks here? We've got the circular block, we've got the set block, and the change block. Now these are very different, and we're going to see that we have all of these eventually. So I've went ahead and pulled them out. So not forever, but at the very beginning, so on start, I'm going to set position to 0. And that means every time that I reset it, it's going to make sure my position, the little number that's kept in that box called position, is set to 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on button. When I click button A, I'm going to turn on a light. Here's a new one. And I'm going to scroll down, set pixel color at 0 to red. Well, this is a very long thing, but it's saying set pixel color at whatever position number that is to red. So in this case, if I click A, it's going to do that. And if I switch this to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that one should turn on. And it does. And if I want blue, I can change it to blue and I can set it to 9. And that should be this one. Boop. right there. So I'm going to set pixel color at, it's not, but I don't know what number, right? Remember, I might change it as we go. So if I'm gonna do that and I start at 0, I take this oval block, and notice how it's the same shape? I can drop that in there. And by doing so, I can say, wherever the number in that box is, change that color. Now remember, green is my favorite, so we'll do that. So if I press A, which of these lights will come on? Well, it's the 0 one, because currently in my box called position, it has a 0. And so set position, which is 0, to green. And now I'm going to use that third variable button. That is change position by 1. So what I'm going to do is change is like saying add. So if I was at 0 and I press this, it's going to first set it wherever it is to green. And then it's going to change the number in the box by adding 1. So it was 0. It turned on the 0 light to green. And now it's going to add 1. So if I hit it again, the next one lights up. And then the next one, and 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 the next one. Okay, we're going to reset this, and I'm going to go over it all again, because this is a lot of stuff. Our variable is like a box that holds a single piece of thing that I can change. It can be different over there. Like, imagine being at school. Your desk might have had your name on it this school year, but next year someone else will sit there and it'll have their name on it. So your desk is kind of like, has a label, has a name attached to it, and that name can change. So we wanted to keep up with where our next light was. And by doing that, we set position. So your challenge, if you want it, and I'll put 5 seconds on my imaginary clock to let you do it, is I want you to see if you can figure out how to turn the lights off by pressing the B button. So that is just like we have now, except instead of turning on the lights, you're going to turn them off backwards. Okay, 5 seconds to pause. Okay, pause up. Now, we're going to do this. There's a super quick way of doing it, but we're going to skip that. Input on button B. We're going to set pixel color at the position, back where we found it. Walk through the steps again, but not to green, but to black. That's like turning them off. And we're going to change our position again. But if 1 makes it go forward, then we're going to use -1 to go backwards. And what we're basically saying is, if I press A, wherever I'm looking at, make it green, and then move my position over. And if I press B, wherever I'm looking at, turn it off, and then move back 1. And this is what it looks like. On, off, on, off. Now there's better ways of doing that, actually. Let's do this. I don't know if you noticed that. There was a bit of a pause. If I hit it once, nothing happens, right? And then it disappears. And if I turn it on, nothing happens. And why that is the order we're going. We always move forward after we change the color, which means if I want to turn off the most recent light, instead of changing the color first, I'm going to need to change my position first. So I'm going to move this one on top and let this reset. On, and immediately goes off, and immediately goes back on, and immediately goes off, immediately goes on, off. There we go. And you get the idea. Now, think to yourself, why did I change my position first over here? And that's because if my last thing was to move it forward to a blank space, and I want to get rid of one, I have to move it back first. Okay, this has been Mr. Hart. This was a big, hefty one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Come back and see me next time.
Thanks, Mr. Hart. That video was enlightening, to say the least. Parents and guardians, again, if you want to order your child a circuit playground, I have dropped a link to one vendor in the resources section below, but there are a lot more. Well, that is all the time we have for today, friends. We will see you real soon on our next episode of Computers Are Fun. See you real soon.